This week on Archery 101, we're going to go back and look at the dreaded pluck. Hey everybody, welcome to Archery 101, Greg here. Alright, I made a previous video about plucking, talking about it, and showing you some ways you can identify that you are plucking. Right, and that's by how your arrows are impacted. Well, on that video and several others, many people have commented, "Hey dude, but you got a pluck too." Never said I didn't. Plucking affects all of us, right? And what really baffles me, annoys me, whatever you want to call it, is that people are willing to tell you you're plucking, but they can't tell you why you're plucking without making a generic statement like improper back tension, right? And most importantly, they don't tell you how to stop from plucking except to, say, use proper back tension. Well, there's a clear and concise definition and clear path for me to take. Right, so today what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you what was causing my plucking and what I did to alleviate it, and maybe, just maybe it'll help you too. So the first thing we got to do is understand why I was plucking. And I'm not talking from the physical. The physical was a result of how I learned. And that's what got my whole problem with plucking going. For me, I don't have, to my knowledge, any really good archery coaches or really outstanding archers in my area, right? Besides Jeff Krug, who we all know is a demigod. But I mainly use YouTube, the forums, and podcasts and that to see what people are talking about, read some articles, watch a video, and that's how I do it. That's basically how I learn. And I listen to them and I watch them. And yeah, so what went wrong, Greg? Well, before we go to that, we're going to take a quick detour and give you a little background so you can understand why I was making the mistakes that I was making. So, to understand how all this happened, we have to understand that people learn in three basic ways. Now, I'm not going to use the official, scientific, or any other elaborate terms for it. I'm going to put it into my own words, okay? You'll understand it how you understand it. I'll understand it how I understand it. The first way people learn is they either have to read it or hear about it, right? They don't need no demonstrations. They can just read the directions and know how to do it, or they can have you tell them and they just naturally grasp it. The other one is people need to see what you're talking about, right? So you can tell them, but they don't get it. They actually have to see you do it, and then they begin to grasp it. And the third way is these people, they actually have to do it, right? So you can tell them about it, they can watch you, they just won't grasp it until they actually do it, and then they'll go, oh, that's what he was talking about, all right? Most people learn from a combination of the three ways. Me, I'm a heavily visual learner and a kinesthetic learner, which means I have to do it. You can talk to me all day. You can whip out all the terminology you want, and I'm just going to tune it out. It's just, my mind doesn't process information like that. Now, if I see it, I can analyze it. And then when I do it, I can analyze it even more and figure out, oh, and that's where I got in trouble. And that's where it all comes about. When they're making these podcasts or YouTube videos, they're trying to convey this information to you, and it's not the same as if you're working on one-on-one, because when you're working on one-on-one, you can look at that person as an instructor and say, oh, they're not picking that up, so let's try it this way. So in YouTube, on our videos, we're trying to do it generically, and yeah, that does cause problems, And now, what does that mean to everything? Well, unfortunately, that's what happened to me. I was watching those videos, which is not the most conducive way for me to learn, and I'll tell you right now, I was doing what I swore they told me to do, right? But guess what? That's not what they were telling me to do. And that's when I realized it. And that's what we're going to start covering next. Okay, everybody, you know how in the beginning I talked about people always tell you back tension? Well, that's where my problem started. Back tension, we all know, it's important because it helps prevent injuries, combats fatigue, helps your accuracy, helps you maintain a proper full draw, prevents creeps and collapsing, and it's a building block for accurate and efficient shooting. And most importantly, it reduces the wear on your shoulders. Now, everybody says to do it, but how many people can really explain it besides telling you the muscle groups? Well, engage this muscle group. Telling me to engage my trapezius, my whatever muscles, my lats, this, that. You know, like I said, in one ear, out the other. And the most common one we hear people tell you is squeeze your shoulder blades together, right? But they don't tell you how to squeeze your shoulder blades together. And that's where I started to get in trouble. All right, everybody, this is how I got in trouble. They all said squeeze your shoulder blades. That is pretty simple for me to do. And I'm going to show you what I did, and I'll have you do it with me. Ways of learning, remember? And you'll see what I mean better, hopefully. So, squeeze your shoulder blades together. I'm going to turn around. You're going to see these two pieces of tape on my back. Don't mind if they're not perfectly placed. Not a tight shirt, but hopefully they'll move enough. Here's my shoulder blades. Squeeze them together. Boom. I am really squeezing my shoulder blades together right now. They are squeezed as hard as I can get them. All right, so join me with this for the kinesthetic people. Put your arms out. Shoulder height, nice and easy. Now, squeeze those shoulder blades, bring them in, straight in. Bring them in like this. Boom, that. Feel it? Squeeze shoulder blades, right? That's proper back tension, right? That's what we wanted, right? No, that's not what you wanted, actually. That's improper back tension, right? But that's how I took what they said to do. I squeezed my shoulder blades together, didn't I? But that is what was causing my plucking. And the reason for it is real simple. I'm going to do it again with you. Put your hands like this. Now, look at your elbows. You'll see your elbows over like this. See how they're in front of you? Now squeeze your shoulder blades together just like you did before. Your elbows are going to move backwards. Boom. Look where my elbows are. They're well past my shoulder. There. All right. I was exaggerating or overdoing the amount of squeeze. And that was one of the causes of my plucking, which I'll show you next. All right, everybody, with my elbows. Boom. Like this, right? Why was it cause my plucking? Put your hands like this. Pull your elbows back. Watch what your hands do. They move in a circular motion away from the center. Right? Boom. Now, Exhibit A. Stretchy foot. When I'm here, looking down you, and my elbow's way out, past, when I let go, my hand can only move away from my face. All right, watch this elbow part. My elbow, proper back engagement, right? I'm going to squeeze those shoulder blades together. All right, here, squeezing them. Look where that hand went. Now, so you can understand what I'm saying, I'll do it right-handed for all those lovely righties. Stand sideways. Put your hand here. Now, put this arm out. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, and you're going to feel the arch in your chest. Remember, we're keeping back tension the whole time. Our hand's being held by the string. When you let it go, look where the hand has to rotate. That elbow pulling back, it rotates. I'll get a better angle. Naturally, just away from your face. There's no way around it, right? So if you're squeezing your shoulder blades together in that angle, you have no choice but your hand to go away. That, my friends, that, one of the mains, is why I was plucking. All right, now that we know what I was doing, how did I correct it? Well, I kept the back tension, but it was actually this drill that taught me what was wrong. You know, if we filmed this from the top, my hands would actually go like that, see? Like that. But I want you to put your hands like this. I want you to keep your hands in line with your elbows and create back tension. How are you going to squeeze your shoulder blades together, but keep your hands like that? It can be done, but it's a total different squeeze. I am squeezing my back, right? But I'm not squeezing it like I did before. The first way, elbows pulling back. Boom. Now I'm going to get back tension, hands staying in a linear motion. So what you're going to find is on the first one, we're squeezing heavily in this part of our back. And the second one, it moves from here, here, and then down to here. And that's what you need to do. All right, so if you're like me and you swore you were doing it right because you listened to it multiple times, but something was wrong, it could be that, right? So remember, here, hands in a linear. Hands in a linear, not hands in an arc. Linear back tension. That's what I'm calling it because that's what I understand it. All right, you got that? All right, now stay with me here because now we're going to do the second thing and it's all going to come together. You just got to trust me on this. All right, everybody. The second thing, they're interconnected. Remember, archery, it's all interconnected. You can't just separate and say this is this because one affects the other. If you don't do one right, it's going to throw the others off. It's like a domino effect. Skeletal alignment. We all hear about it. Some people call it bone on bone. You know, and it has many benefits. Prevents injury. Sounds familiar? Prevents collapse and creep. Right? Allows to keep it full draw better and helps our consistency. Sounds really familiar, right? Those are the benefits of it. So it's something you need to have. And I'm going to show you now. Simple exercise. First I'll demonstrate. We can do it together. We do it together now. So stand here, shoulders in line. See that? Bring your elbow in line with your shoulder. That is skeletal alignment. If you push to my elbow, it'd go into my shoulder, and that's what's holding it. But this, my friends, is not the skeletal alignment you want in archery. Right? That's not what you want. Why? Well, let's go back to the stretchy band. I'm here, do my J draw, get skeletal alignment. There's that over rotation. When I skeletal align, there's that first back squeeze that I was talking about, the too much of a back squeeze. Now I got skeletal alignment. I let go, hand has to come back. Then we're back to this drill again, remember? Hand has to come away from the face. So how do you achieve skeletal alignment without over rotating? And that's when we come into this another concept they have in archery called the line of fire, which I never really grasped because to me, being a lifelong combat shooter with rifles and pistols, line of fire is anything between me and my target. There's my target, that's my line of fire. You know, somebody steps in between me and my target. They stepped into my line of fire. I never related the line of fire to my body. But that's what they're talking about in archery. The line of fire in archery they're talking about is a straight line with your arrow. And it has to go from the point of the arrow through your hand, into your backhand, and into your elbow. All right? So I'm here. This cocking of the wrist that you see me doing, that helps me achieve it. I'm going to pull back to here. Now there's that line. There's that line. The line doesn't run through my body. It's through the arrow. Now I can hold this. I can squeeze my back properly. Look where my hand ends up. Line of fire is a big one, boys and girls. So instead of learning back tension and squeezing the back, if you focus on line of fire, for me, it brought me into those two. Now let's look at it from the back, okay? This is how I was doing it. I'm here, back tension. All right. Now, watch when I apply line of fire. So the big key for me is this elbow is no longer in line with it. It's actually here, because that's where this is. Now from here, let's try it from this side. From here, the old way. Now line of fire away. Very subtle, but very big for consistency and repeatability. All right. So, two things that I was thinking about. Totally mistook what they were trying to say. Once I learned it my way and how to say it, what they said made total sense. All right. All right. Let's put it all together now. Let you get out there and practice. All right, everybody. So now you understand how I got to plucking. One, people were telling me to do something. I heard it. In my mind, I had a picture of it. I seen them do it, and what I had in my mind matched my picture of what I seen them do it. But when I did it, I was not getting the results they were. I was not doing what they were doing. And it was just because of the limitations of how they were teaching it via the medium of YouTube, forums, and such. But my big discovery was understanding line of fire. You know, Longbow Dan, who has a channel, he always said archery is about straight lines. And that's what put me on the path to understanding it. I want that straight line. Straight line. Not a straight line. Straight line. Now, you see how my hand is. Now, let's get into the next thing. This is really neat stuff here. If you put your wrist straight, that's my wrist straight. Look at my fingers. My knuckle, it curves here. Right? Yeah, you can do that. What you want is a slight bend. Don't worry about the fingers, they're curled. With a slight bend, now these knuckles are in line with the wrist. Now they're not. See how the knuckles curl up? But my wrist is actually straight. It's like this. This is a very subtle little point. Then the arrow goes through the straight line this way into here. Like this, it can't do that. Right? Like that, the line goes this way. Like this, the line goes this way. Another little small little thing that made a big difference for me. So now when I shoot, I come up, set my grip, set my hook like we all know to do. I raise mine up. I'm going to take my shoulder, pull it in, and rotate it back. Engage that lower back. My hand's out at an angle. You can see the heavy bend in my wrist. It all straightens out. When I pull back, get in that, right there in that line of fire. It's from here you're going to feel the energy of that little band or your arrow in a straight line. That's when you squeeze your back by moving this hand forward and this elbow straight back. Not back this way, but back this way. There's your push-pull. Then you focus and let go. All right? I still pluck from time to time, but why do I pluck? Because I did this for so long, became a habit. Now I have to retrain my mind and body not to do it. All right, boys and girls, plucking. That's what I was doing, and that's how I'm fighting it. Maybe you're doing the same things. There's something for you to check on. All right? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time with an all-new episode of Archery 101.